The world is loud, but your home doesn't have to be. Let's talk about raising calm preschoolers in a chaotic world. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, calmness, and child development, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about bringing calm in those really wild years. In this video, we're going to talk about the culture and what the culture is doing that leads to a little bit more chaos in our homes so that we can be mindful of that and dial a few things back. But then we're also going to talk about some teaching self-government principles that can help you turn that chaos into calm. So what's happening culturally to our homes, and what impact is that having on our young children? Preschoolers can be stimulated, overstimulated very easily, and our culture is very stimulating. It's loud. There's a lot of screens and blinking lights and buttons that make noises, and parents that are going places and putting children in the car and taking them to lunches and museums and to parks and to see people. There's just so many things that are happening that the toddlers and the preschoolers, they don't always get that quiet little life that some of us had when we were little, where we could sit and imagine and play with toys. They are always on the go. The schedules are intense. The parents are running faster than parents ever have before to accomplish making the money, taking care of all the things, and making sure that the child has everything that they need to be happy and alive all at the same time. But are they getting everything? Are they getting their full needs met when they're running at that type of a pace and when they're surrounded by all of those screens? We might ask ourselves that question. Sometimes we introduce even more screens and more stimulation because we think that that actually shows our child that they have a better life. When in reality, the thing our child needs more than anything else is to feel close to us, to be bonded with us, connected with us, to be hugged, talked to, cuddled with, for life to slow down just a little bit. So when life gets going really crazy, and when we're surrounded by all these stimulations and screens, it shouldn't be any surprise to us that there's a lot of chaos that happens. That there's tantrums and dysregulation, strong-willed children pushing against their parents and not doing what the parents say. When the child is always on the go, the child starts to think of themselves as somewhat the boss of their life, because everything is just schedules and going from one thing to the next. They lose track of their roles and, in so doing, their reality. This is when they start acting out. Our preschoolers, our toddlers, they need our help. They need structure. So let's talk about some of the self-government principles and skills that you can use to help them today. First off, the roles in the family are so important. So I have a whole book that's called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. And that book really talks about what parents and children provide for each other in that family dynamic as far as their role goes. The children need to know that your role as the person who's there for them to talk to, who guides them, directs them, protects them, teaches them, really is something that they can rely upon, which means that when at all possible, you need to slow down and do that teaching. One of the number one things that a parent is supposed to be is a teacher for their children. So that means that you need to take the time to do that teaching. This actually creates more conversation, and when children start talking more, they actually become more calm. This is unless you get them all ramped up, but read books, do puzzles, talk about things, go on walks, look at bugs, look at flowers, and don't have to make everything crazy and fun. Just keep it calm, and then they'll have more of an understanding of what calmness is. These books right here are perfect for preschool age. They each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. When a child learns these 4 basic skills, this increases their calmness, primarily because one of the first steps in every one of these 4 basic skills is to have a calm face, voice, and body. Now, a self-governed family pre-teaches every step to every skill before it's ever utilized in real time. So what does it look like to teach your child calmness proactively ahead of time? Well, maybe one night after dinner, you might have a conversation with your child where you talk about what calmness looks like, what it sounds like, what it doesn't sound like. And you might practice, role play practice, being calm and not being calm. And then learning how to turn it on and turn it off so that they can see they can choose that at any time. Then you'll read them the books, practice the skills, role play practice the scenarios that happen in those little children's books so that they can see that they can use those skills in any circumstance that they find themselves in. Then all you have to do is start talking about the skills and the steps to the skills more. Instead of saying, you're being rude, you're being lazy, you're being whiny, you say, right now I think you're trying to disagree appropriately. Let's use our skill of disagreeing appropriately. Or right now, this is a no answer. We need to have a calm face, voice, and body because that's one of the steps, right? Or right now you're still talking about the issue, which means you're not dropping the subject. If you can pinpoint for the child each step that they need to work on, suddenly the power struggle melts away and there's less chaos. Now, I do realize that sometimes chaos can happen between siblings and children altogether because they get a little bit silly. Sometimes you have to allow for some of those sillies to happen and you have to tell yourself it's a no answer, that sometimes children just are a little bit silly because that's part of childhood. That's the fun. But there's also a time where they can learn how to be calm and dial it back. And you can pre-teach them for how to do that. So how do you do that? By being emotionally safe at the same time. I have a video for that, and I highly recommend that you watch that one next. It's called How to Create Emotional Safety for Little Children at Home. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.